what you are trying to say, the way I interpret it, again, and I don't know if I'm right if we don't do the work, is, hey, the spiritual successor to the idea of the ether exists. And that thing has properties. And if you say, if I put a vector bundle on top of a Lorentzian manifold, then you don't have a contradiction. And if you call that the ether, that's more or less what we work with. And then we do this weird thing where we say, well, they used to think the ether existed and it didn't. Ha, ha, ha. And that's not really...
No, because that's when they said that space was a vacuum. And they realized that space is not
a vacuum.
It's not a vacuum.
Yeah.
It's not a vacuum.
Do you know how much is going on in that vacuum? It's all going on.
Yes, all of this stuff.
I understand. So this is the thing, which is if you step on this thing the wrong way, everybody laughs and says, ha, 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 he doesn't understand the Michelson-Morley experiment. He doesn't understand why there's no ether. And then we secretly sneak it back in this.
Thank you.
Thank you, Joe. Cheers.
Cheers, gentlemen.
Yeah, cheers.
Man, look at these professional spherical cubes.
Yeah, they're cool, right? Round ice cubes.
Now I can have a conversation.
Oh, yeah, now. So,
Freedom. Mental freedom in a glass.
So
or in prison.
If you're careful about it, it makes sense. If you're not careful about it, the whole thing blows up in your face.
And the reason that I speak about the ether, all of the wave conjugations, all of my patents have been defining different aspects of the ether. I believe that I've defined the electric side, the plasmoid side, and I believe that I've defined the magnetic side and the constitution between them. I mean, that's what I want to show.
I want to get to that.
Let's go back to the flower.
Oh, but before you go from that other spot, if you look at that picture again of those two photons interacting, it looks like it's at the center of what would typically be a whirlpool. This is like the very center of a whirlpool. So they've got them moving right by each other or in creating that vortice, that natural vortice. That's what they took the picture of. They looked directly down at something being, at two lights moving a fluid.
And they described how they take the picture. It's so complicated. Jamie, go back to where it was, where they were explaining the what they use. Here it is. Here we introduce biphoton digital holography in analogy to off-axis digital holography, where we coincidence imaging of the superposition of an unknown state with a reference state is used to perform quantum state tomography. What the fuck?
See, but that's because of the uncertainty and Schrodinger, all of that. But if you were able, because they started off trying to predict an electron cloud, and find a little particle inside of it and couldn't predict it, so all these uncertainties and probabilities came out, but they were doing things on a two-dimensional basis. That's what I believe that I've figured out with the wave conjugations, because they talk about they show the pieces of hyperbolic space to where you don't have to go through all these unnecessary steps to reach it.
I am just so happy that someone's doing something like this. I'm so happy that we can talk about it. I don't think most people have any understanding of what's going on at the highest levels of this kind of science, because it's so damn fascinating. These people are finding the very building blocks of the universe and studying them. It's fascinating.